So my 16-year-old mom is a teacher at my school. Our school has a special elective you can take, which is being a teacher's aide during your elective period. It's mostly stuff like grading papers for them, making copies, mentoring, etc. It's pretty much always just the teacher's favorite student at the time. I found out at the beginning of the semester that my mom chose Dave, 17-year-old, to be her TA. Dave has made my life a living nightmare since middle school. He has bullied me mercilessly, both physically and emotionally, since 6th grade. I don't want to get into everything he's done to me, but everyone is fully aware of it, including the school and my parents. There have been countless meetings with school administration and suspensions on his end, but it never stopped him. Since we've been in high school, I haven't had to see him as much, which is a relief. But the times that I do are always terrible. When I found out that he was her new TA, I was obviously very hurt and confused. I asked her why would she want to spend extra time with someone who made my life so terrible. She said that she had him in one of her classes, and that he really isn't such a bad kid, but he has a really terrible home life that she can't tell me about that makes him act out. For the record, my mom has always had a soft spot for kids who come from bad homes. I reminded her of all the things he had done to me, and she said that she understands, but he really needs help right now. I told her I get that, but why does it have to be you? We have a huge school full of teachers and staff who can mentor him. Why does it have to be you? She told me to stop being selfish, and some kids have it harder than I can imagine, and she's just trying to help. I was honest with her and told her that if she continued to have him as her aide, she was dead to me. She was choosing him over me, and she would not longer be my mother. I would no longer talk to her, and the minute I turned 18, I was moving out and she would never hear from me again. She rolled her eyes and said I was being dramatic, but after a couple of days of ignoring her, I was grounded. It didn't change my mind, and my dad then tried to force me to talk to her. I still refused, so they pretty much took everything away from me one by one for the past few weeks. I no longer have my car, computer, guitar, and most recently my art supplies. And I have to come home from school and go straight to my room, and I'm not allowed out except dinner until I start talking to her again. They don't realize that this is just strengthening my resolve. I'm going to sit in this empty room every day silently until I'm 18 and they'll never see me again. My mom keeps coming in crying and begging me to talk to her, which makes me feel kind of bad, but she still won't remove Dave as her aide. Am I taking this too far? I just feel so betrayed. Oh. Update. I'm sorry I stopped answering everyone's questions. I just kind of freaked out when this blew up out of nowhere, and I almost deleted it a few times because I was scared someone at school would see it and recognize me. Everyone letting me know that it's not my fault helped a lot, though, so I felt less embarrassed about someone I know potentially seeing it. Nothing has really changed, but a lot of you made a good point that if I'm really going to go this route, then I need to come up with a plan for what I'm going to do when I get out. I considered the military like some people suggested, but then I remembered my school has a special trade program. You go to our school for half a day, then spend the other half at our local community college taking trade classes. I think depending on what you are doing, you can get an associate's degree or whatever certifications you need by the time you graduate. I went to my guidance counselor during lunch today and told her I wanted to switch to that program. She acted really surprised and asked, why did I want to change now since I'm already taking AP classes and am on the college track? I told her I didn't want to talk about it, but I would need to be ready for independence when I graduated, and this seemed like the best way. She said it might be too late to change this semester, but she would look into it for me and let me know. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, not the idiot. It seems like your mother, rather than helping him improve, is learning how to bully you. Information. Is your father not seeing the damage being done to your family by all this? Why is he okay with her being TA for your bully, and is it more important than your well-being? It seems like they have more empathy towards that bully, but not their own son. Frankly, if I could, I would surely go no contact with such parents. They already know what they are doing is wrong, but their superiority complex won't let them admit it. I don't think writing a letter will help your cause. Comment 2. Not the idiot. If my mother would have done that to me or one of my brothers, we would have treated her like a traitor. She puts her savior complex or whatever this is over your mental health. She is, in addition to that, disloyal to your family, you. Just ignore her and organize your life. Do well in school and leave her behind when you are old enough and independent. I cannot even compute how people do this to their own blood. But here we are. I wish you the best. Now, for the update. Thank you for sticking with me through this mess. So, the past 2 weeks have been very eventful. I've been stuck in my room, right? Well, I started using my time to plan my future, like some of you suggested. I was dead set on the trade program. But then, things got even more complicated. My mom, she's been trying to reach out, leaving little notes under my door, trying to explain her side. She's been talking about Dave's situation at home, how he's on the brink of getting kicked out, and how she feels responsible to help him. I get it. She's got a big heart, but it still stings. Meanwhile, Dave's been strutting around school like he owns the place, and it's been driving me nuts. But then, something unexpected happened. Dave got into a fight, a big one, with another student. It was bad, and the school had to call the cops. I heard from a friend that Dave's stepdad showed up, and it was a whole scene. The kid he fought ended up in the hospital, and Dave got suspended. Again. Now, here's where it gets really twisted. My mom, she's been advocating for Dave, saying he's just misunderstood and needs support. But after the fight, even she couldn't ignore it anymore. She finally agreed to stop having him as her TA. I should have felt relieved, right? But instead I felt guilty. Like maybe I pushed too hard. But I didn't have much time to dwell on that because my dad lost his job. Out of nowhere. We've been trying to keep it together, but it's been tough. My mom's been picking up extra shifts, and I've been trying to help out by taking care of my little sister after school. It's been hard to stay mad when I see how much they're struggling. Then, the guidance counselor got back to me about the trade program. She said I could start next semester. I was excited, but then I realized that with my dad out of work, I couldn't just leave them to fend for themselves. I had to make a choice. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I went to my mom and actually talked to her. I told her I'd stay in my regular classes and help out at home. She broke down, telling me how sorry she was about everything. We had a real heart-to-heart, and I could tell she was torn up about the whole Dave situation too. I guess what I'm trying to say is I realized that family's complicated. My mom made a mistake, but she's human and she's trying her best. And I can't just abandon them, not when they need me. So I'm sticking it out. I'm going to graduate with my AP classes, help my family, and then figure out my next move. It's not the escape plan I had in mind, but it feels right. And hey, maybe I can still take some trade classes on the side. Who knows? Thanks for reading. It means a lot. My boyfriend wakes me up for intimacy. Despite my discomfort, so I vomit on him, and then he wants a threesome with his ex. So I expose his manipulation to all his friends and watch as his reputation crumbles. Update. I'm very stunned at the amount of people who have responded to my stupid post that I genuinely just posted for confirmation that I wasn't being a jerk. I genuinely did not know that any of this was considered intimacy attack, and I'm very sorry if I caused any harm or heartache for anyone who read this unknowingly. Thank you so much to everyone who has helped me understand so many confusing things. I didn't know any of this, but I know now. Our issues are far deeper than this too, and I don't think I would have realized how bad this was, at least not for much longer time if not for this post. For those who asked, I'm 20 years old and he's 28 years old. I don't live with him. I'm not stupid or making this up, I'm just confused. I talked to my friend and she helped me understand a lot too, but I am okay and not going to continue this relationship with him. I showed her this post and my bruises that generally don't really go away, and she is very upset. I'd say just as much as anyone here is. Anyway, thank you for much for concern from a bunch of random strangers. I'm okay now, I'll be fine eventually. TW. Editing to include essay. I'm so sorry for not doing that at first, I just genuinely did not know. Intimacy content and bodily fluids. So this happened 2 nights ago and I've been wanting to die of embarrassment ever since then. So basically, my boyfriend woke me in the middle of the night morning for intimacy. It was probably like 4 a.m., and I don't know if anyone else has experienced this, but my gag reflex is so much worse in the morning. You can probably see where this is headed. He starts guiding my head there, and I didn't really want to, but he was pretty adamant about it. I eventually gave in. As I'm doing my thing down there, he's pushing my head a lot, thrusting into my mouth. I told him to stop, but he didn't, and one ill-timed head push made me vomit, all over him, and his weenie, and the bed. I immediately started to sob because that's so embarrassing, and I was just overwhelmed. I have no idea why that happened. I've never even felt like I was going to vomit before. I didn't have a chance to stop. I felt horrible and immediately apologized, to which he responded by pushing me away from him. He was so mad, which I kinda understand. Getting vomited on was not his ideal situation, but he did absolutely nothing to make me feel better. I was in the bathroom for like 20 minutes debating if I was gonna die of embarrassment or not. Again, I don't know how this happened, and I felt so horrible. When I came back to bed, he had cleaned up in the other bathroom and just went back to bed without saying anything. I cried for a bit again, and the next morning he told me he was still really disgusted. I said, yeah, me too, and apologized again for whatever that was. He rolled his eyes and now has been reminding me how disgusting it was. But I've already apologized for it, and I feel like he's just doing too much at this point. I told him to leave me alone about it, and he told me I was being a jerk about the whole situation. Am I really? I've apologized so many times, like I don't know what else he wants from me. Am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update, comment 1. OP, are you okay? Not the idiot, but are you okay? After dealing with similar things for over 4 years, I'm genuinely concerned about your well-being. I sincerely hope that if you need help, you have the safety to reach out. Many people commenting are talking about it being an intimacy attack, but this is more than that. The fact that you felt guilty for what he did tells me that there is already emotional abuse rooted in this situation. Comment 2. He woke you up and then demanded intimacy and then got mad at you when you vomited on his weenie after he shoved it in your mouth? That's disgusting and not on your part. He treated you like a fleshlight, not a woman. Now for the update, thanks for all the comments and advice on my last post. It's been a tense week. So after the whole vomit incident, things got even more messed up. My boyfriend started acting all sweet again, like nothing happened. He was buying me flowers, taking me out to dinner, and I thought maybe he was trying to make up for being such a jerk. But then, out of nowhere, he drops a bomb on me. He says he wants to have a threesome with his ex, the one he always told me was crazy. I was shocked. I mean, I've never even thought about that kind of stuff. And with his ex, it felt like a slap in the face. But he kept pushing, saying it would spice things up. I didn't know what to do. I was scared of losing him, so I said I'd think about it. Big mistake. The next day, I found out he'd already told his ex about the idea, and she was into it. They were planning it behind my back. I felt betrayed. I confronted him, and he said it was just a fantasy, that he got carried away. But the trust was broken. I couldn't look at him the same way. I wanted to leave, but then he started crying, begging me to forgive him. He said he'd do anything to make it right, and I believed him. I thought maybe this was just a weird phase, and we could get past it. So I stayed. But then, his ex started texting me, saying how excited she was. She was sending me all these messages, and it was too much. I told my boyfriend to make her stop, but he said he couldn't control what she does. It was like he enjoyed the drama. I felt trapped. My friends were telling me to get out, that this guy was bad news, but I couldn't. I kept thinking about the good times and how maybe this was just a rough patch. I didn't want to be alone. And then the worst thing happened. I got a message from someone anonymous, with pictures of my boyfriend and his ex together, looking way too cozy. It was like a punch to the gut. I confronted him again, and he had some excuse about how they were just talking about the threesome, trying to make it perfect for me. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw things, but I didn't. I just cried, and he comforted me, and I let him. I don't know why I can't leave. I guess I'm scared of what's out there, of starting over. So I'm still here, pretending everything's fine, while inside, I'm falling apart. Thanks for reading. My girlfriend teases me, then plays victim when I set boundaries. So I expose her lies and teach her a lesson about honesty and respect. This argument began because my girlfriend decided to initiate intimacy with me and then abruptly stop because it was fun to just mess with you. She has done this with the intention of messing with me multiple times before, and every single time I tell her that I don't like it. I've tried to set this boundary multiple times. I don't find being edged and left wanting fun. I would never force my girlfriend to do anything she is uncomfortable with. No means no, and consent can be withdrawn at any time, so I wasn't going to pressure her into making me finish. That being said, I was left both frustrated and aroused. I expressed my frustration by reminding her that I've told her not to do this, but she completely blew me off and told me that I was just being immature and that I should just go to sleep. That's when I proposed that I just do the job myself, without the outside assistance of Korn. That seemed fair to me since she didn't want to continue. She told me that, "You might as well just go home and jerk off while I sleep." Her wording was deliberate, and she was directly referencing one of the biggest conflicts in our relationship. 2 years ago, I watched Korn in the bathroom while she was asleep. This was a singular, out-of-character event, which she knows I feel horrible about and have apologized for profusely. We both agreed that Korn is something we don't want in our relationship. She knows that I still feel horribly about this. It was a singular event, and it's been over 2 years. Why bring it up? This really upset me, so I left. It just feels like she is repeatedly crossing boundaries, getting upset at normal hormonal reactions, and then bringing up past mistakes to purposefully make me feel bad. Edit. After I left, I was sent this string of text messages by her. "I don't understand why you hate me so much. Not talking to me is the most immature thing I've ever witnessed. I hope this is worth it. You are being very overdramatic about one comment." She then edited them a couple minutes later into this string. "I love you. I'm sorry that I'm such a witch. I didn't want you to leave. She told me to leave. Everything is always my fault." Edit 2. Just clarifying some things. Intimacy had been fully initiated when she randomly stopped, and she told me directly that she enjoyed just messing with me, which I explicitly told her not to do. I completely get playfully teasing your partner, but we were way past the point of teasing. I'm 20, and she is 19. This is also my first relationship, not her first. We mutually agreed to exclude Korn from our relationship. She communicated that she was uncomfortable with it, and I'd rather go without than sacrifice her comfort. Thank you to everyone who has left a kind, helpful comment or shared a personal experience. I wish I could respond to them all, but there's just so much. I hope you all have great days. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. She is very immature and is just using intimacy as a game. I would say break up with her for that simple fact. Plus, there is no future there unless you want her using it to control you later. Comment 2. Not the idiot. To be honest, she sounds like a manipulative person who sees intimacy as a tool to control and shame you. I don't know, though. What you do is up to you, but I don't think it would be your loss if you left. Now, for the update. Thanks for the support. It's been a busy few days. So after I left, things got even more twisted. I was at my buddy's place, trying to cool off, when I got a call from her best friend. Apparently, my girlfriend had been telling people that I stormed out because I was addicted to Korn and couldn't handle not watching it. That stung. I mean, it was a low blow, especially since she knows the truth. I confronted her about it the next day. She denied everything at first, but when I showed her the text from her friend, she broke down and admitted she was just trying to hurt me because she felt hurt. She said she was jealous of how easily I could be satisfied without her and wanted to make me feel as bad as she did. It was messed up, and I told her that. We were both in tears by the end of it. But here's where it gets crazier. She had this ex, let's call him Mr. X, who always seemed to be lurking in the background. I never liked the guy. Well, turns out she'd been talking to him again. Not just friendly chats, but complaining about our relationship. Mr. X saw his chance and started feeding her ideas about how I didn't respect her boundaries and was probably cheating on her. That's why she'd been acting out, trying to push me away. I was furious. Not just at her, but at him for weaseling his way back into our lives. I needed to clear my name, so I did something I'm not proud of. I messaged Mr. X from her phone while she was in the shower. I found out he was planning to meet her the next day to talk things through. That's when I decided to show up instead. When Mr. X saw me, his face went white. I didn't throw a punch, though I wanted to. I just told him to back off, and that if he ever tried to mess with us again, I'd expose all the manipulative texts he'd sent her. He left, and I haven't heard from him since. After that, my girlfriend and I had a long, hard talk. We laid everything out on the table, all the insecurities and fears. It was rough, but it felt like we were finally getting somewhere. She apologized for bringing up the past and for not trusting me. I apologized for invading her privacy and for not being more understanding. We decided to take a break from each other, to figure out if this relationship is what we both really want. It's been 3 days, and I've spent a lot of time reflecting. I realized that as much as I care about her, I can't be with someone who uses my past mistakes as a weapon. It's not healthy for either of us. So, I guess you could say I got my revenge, but it doesn't feel sweet. It just feels like maybe we're both finally getting a chance to heal and move on, whether that's together or apart. Thanks for sticking with me through this mess. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.